One of the greatest fears of America's founding fathers is that America, the country, would be unable to create a caliber of citizen required to maintain a free form of government. Prosperity, liberty, law and order. These things take great work and sacrifice to create, but once created, they are not permanent. They do not simply last forever. They all require maintenance of great work and great sacrifice. But these institutions are not only maintained through work and sacrifice of these great citizens who are required to maintain a free form of government, prosperity, liberty, and rule of law, but it is also maintained by their action, their watchful eye for any swamp dwellers who wish to rise up and sate their greed with the taxpayer dollars of the United States, or who wish to impose tyranny upon the people of the United States. And once the great men identify these individuals, and once identified, force them to return to the Maya bog from whence they came. Everyone has likely heard, and at least to some part agrees with the statement, that hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. And thus it is said the cycle continues. But by no means does hard times for the general population of a country mean hard times for all. The hard times created by these weak men is by no means a smoldering ruin of ash on the ground. It is a swamp which they construct. A swamp which the weak men will then find themselves dwelling in, wandering aimlessly, being sucked dry by mosquitoes. But while the average person suffers, the mosquito, those who suck the blood, the life from the person wandering about this swamp which has now been constructed, this is the best time. They have food supply. They have the swamp which allows them to breed more and more mosquitoes. And the weak man is incapable of slapping him away. Outside of the analogy, these mosquitoes are America's oligarchs, their weapons, corruption, money, the media. Why would they wish for us to be strong? Why would they wish for us to deconstruct the swamp and construct a new civilization where we can prosper? One where the mosquitoes cannot be populous, one where they cannot drain us. This is why the man of the future must be the antithesis of the men who created this country. Because the men who created this country were great. It's why the oligarchs would have us hate their memory. But as you might have noticed, this cycle which I have described is, well, cyclical. So even if we live in a swamp, even if they wish for us to be weak, soon enough, strong men will rise and things will get better. This idea forgets to acknowledge what specifically creates great men, causes them to rise: suffering. And here is where the oligarchs attempt to stop this cycle once and for all, if the swamp can be made comfortable enough to the weak men who live in it, if the illusions of their desires can be presented to the weak men to trick them into believing that they are living meaningful lives, if they can be convinced, these weak men, that it is the swamp that is their destiny and not the stars, then perhaps the mosquitoes can feed forever. Now, I am a Catholic. I believe in natural law. I believe virtue is transcribed through reason in the souls of humans. But I think that also the most virulent and fedora-tipping atheists would agree that many of humans' complex interactions and decisions can be boiled down to the desire to reproduce viable offspring and provide for them. The atheists would say that our human desires and needs can be traced back to our ancestors who had these desires and needs and experienced evolutionary success because of them. Whether you believe that people enjoy sex because having children is a virtue and God wills it, or simply because it is a biological imperative, it is not important. People have desires which can be subverted. And whatever the desire is, it can be subverted and replaced with something artificial, something that still gives your brain that dopamine hit. What does it matter if it's too expensive for you to have kids, to have a family? You have porn, you have hookup culture, you have Tinder. Sure, you owe $200,000 to a college which is bare minimum requirements to get any sort of decent job. Sure, a mid-sized house costs $600,000. Just get an apartment for $2,000 a month and work a 9 to 5 that you hate for $45,000 a year until you're 75 years old, dude. But it's fine. It's all fine. How bad could it be when you have weed? You got the NBA on your television. You got video games. You got Spotify Premium. You got any rap music you want to listen to. If they keep you comfortable enough, if they provide you with enough distractions and enough simulated life, you will be happy. You will do the mental gymnastics yourself and pretend like you are living a meaningful life just so that you can accept the absolutely dreadful situation which these mosquitoes have put you in. And you'll accept and you'll ignore all the blatant corruption and tyranny from the oligarchs who put you in this place like the good little piggy that you are in hopes that they'll come by and they'll give you a little bit of extra slop. And these oligarchs, they are happy, they are overjoyed to give you as much slop as you need to be content, as long as they are the hand which is giving it to you. That is the future, man, the antithesis of those great men who created this country, and that is where we need to be for the oligarchs to be happy. Tradition, traditional values, these must be evil, because that is true life, not the simulated artificial life which the future man will be living in. Beauty, which our ancestors strove for, must be evil, because the future man is not going to be beautiful. He's going to be an ugly, fat little piggy, and he must love it. It must be normal. It must be great to be ugly and fat, lest the little piggy will get upset, discontented with his comfortable little fat piggy life, and aspire for beauty himself, which would be atrocious. Because the future man must never be broken from his stupor. He should never be broken from his spell and allowed to see a mirror, allowed to see what he has become, because he will immediately wake up and see how horrible things truly are. This is the future man. Millions of pigs living on a farm, being bitten and sucked dry by mosquitoes every day, but fed slop every day, all the same by these mosquitoes who cultivate them.